Hello, listeners, and welcome back to this shit show. Let's just be honest. It's the shit. It's a shit show. Anyway, I'm gonna try my best to keep my cool throughout this whole thing. Again, this is tea, not the tea that you've been hearing constantly. The other tea, again, the other part of this twisted dilemma. I would say love triangle. But with some new developments, it's definitely, I don't know what kind of shape it is. It's way more angles to this shape here. Anyway, don't get me started. And I'm going to try to stay focused. I think and I believe the last time I left you guys, I left you with, of course, how he re entered my life at the end of October. I started moving towards November, but I also was stating how I think homie was definitely clocking and watching my socials in terms of my Instagram and my TikToks. How he was able to come back into my life with telling me everything I wanted to hear, not what I wanted to hear, but things that resonated with me. Not saying what I wanted to hear, things that he was talking about him going to therapy and how he's working out and how, he's matured in ways of, you know, almost like an emotional intelligence he has now and all that yah stuff. Now it's yah because clearly it was all a lie. But also how he was, talking about possibly moving to Texas and me going to school and yeah. Anyway, so again, we're in November and I'm just going to jump back in. I hope you guys have been following along. And if you haven't, please go back and listen to the other stories. But let's get into it. So now we are in November and I am taking it slow. Um, But I'm noticing as the weeks go on, he is constantly bringing up me coming to visit him or somehow us linking up. Should have been a red flag. Again, this is November and conversation is happening back and forth every day, text message, video calls, back and forth. Video calls for hours, good morning text messages, good night. Um, and one thing that stood out in November was he asked me to if I wanted to go to an event with him that was gonna take place in May. Now again, we're in November, so I'm like scratching my head. Like this is so new. I can't make plans for you with you right now for May. I don't know you're gonna make it past December. Like at this point, we're getting to know each other again. Really strange to me. We're getting to know each other, but do I take it as him like something strange, or do I take it as he's moving with intentions? He really wants to be here for the long haul. All right. But I honestly shut that down like, hey, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how or where I'm going to be at in May, So I can't honestly give you a question, an answer now to that question. All right, bet. So now we move on. He asked me another time in November, could I come to where he stays? Because again, I'm a flight attendant, so can you come? And you can come visit me. This is another. And then I told him the time that I was off, and he was like, "Oh, well, never mind. Actually, I'm getting the kids that weekend." And I'm like, "Okay." There was another time he asked me to come, and he was like, "Hey, at the end of November, you want to go with me to Niagara Falls?" And I'm still like, "No, I'm really busy. That was my plate for November. I'm really busy. I got a lot going on. I got some goals that I need to accomplish, and I just gotta stay focused. So maybe December." And that's how we played it for the whole month of November. Again, still good morning text messages, good night, you're beautiful. Um, all of that's going back and forth all throughout November. Of course, Thanksgiving happens, and he spent time with his family, I believe. I spent time with my family, and we're just gonna kind of like keep moving into now December. Um, oh, another thing. In November, I did end up going to his state for a layover for work. And no, actually it was not a layover. It was just me visiting. I think I was just going in and out that day. And he asked me, it just so happened he asked me where I was at via text message or whatever. I said, just so funny. I mean, funny that you asked. I'm actually, in your area, but unfortunately, I'm not here long. He acted like he was so sad, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe you're so close and I can't see you and this is another. I'm like, yeah, I'm just in and out. I'm not gonna be here long. So when I tell you the most, November was long text message. I mean, long conversations, long voice, like long video calls, back and forth. Like he would send messages all the time. Memes back and forth and all that stuff all the time. So again, we're just at this point getting to know each other. Now, December is when I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. So December, I had a trip planned, and it again was to his state. And this time, I was going to be had a layover at, when I say probably 20 minutes from his house, or maybe 30 minutes from his house. And I was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Um, I, I mean, our conversation didn't slow down at all. It actually picked up even more. And for December, I was like, hey, so I'm actually going to be in your state for December. He was like, see, like he was really excited. I was excited too, I'm not going to lie. Because this is honestly going to be my first time seeing him in maybe 4 years. And the conversations were going good. They were. Um, so at this point, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be in your area. He was like, hey, so then let me pick you up for dinner. So I was like, okay, no problem. Like, we can do that. I remember this because like he really played things. He played things completely out. He was like, I was telling him like, hey, I got a hotel. I'm gonna stay at my hotel. I'm not coming to your house. letting them know up front. This is still very new. And I need to be able to, I'm not going to stay at your house and then have to worry about getting back to my hotel, then get to the airport on time. No. So we can have dinner. You just got to bring me back to the hotel that night. And he was cool. All right, cool. He can do that. This is at the beginning of December. I again remember this because he's a planner, and he had already planned our dinner. He made a reservation where we was gonna eat at. He figured the place was by my hotel, so I didn't have to stress about anything. Like, cool, all right. So then I believe I got in that day from my trip, and our reservation is at 7. And he picked me up from my hotel. I got dressed and got really cute and stuff. And again, this is our first time seeing each other, so it was exciting. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, I finally get to see Juicy J. I hate saying that name now. I get to see Juicy J now. Um, he, and he pulls up to the hotel. He opens the car door, and it's like, it's our first time seeing each other. I do believe it was an instant. I think I kissed him. As I got into the car, because he opened the door, and and we went to this Brazilian kind of like steakhouse. It was a nice dinner. We talked. Um, he, of course, I think we talked about his grandson. We talked about work. Um, just catching up. And I mean, it was a nice night. Of course, that night, I'm not staying at your house and you're not staying at my hotel. So, um, at the end of the night, it was just the end of the night. Took me back to the hotel, gave another kiss, and that was it. Uh, let's say maybe a week later, we were me and my friends wanted to, and I try to tell this story without telling locations, but I don't think I can skip this part. So me and my friends, of course, wanted to go see the Rockefeller tree lighting in New York. And Juicy J doesn't stay, he stays in the area, not in New York, in the area anyway. So you know, the I came up with the decision that, hey, I can just kill, two birds with one stone, and I can see you again, and also see the tree. So Juicy J, of course, picks me up this weekend, and I stay at his house. I get dressed at his house, but again, I have to take the train into the city to see the tree lighting and everything. Now, tell you how this man is at this point. Um, he's asking questions. Oh, one thing. Another thing that I did, I broke my nail while I was there. And he was like, do you want me to give you some money so you can go get your nails done? And I was like, no, I'm fine. Not, I should have took it. I should have took it. But no, I'm fine. I don't want my friends to wait on me while I'm getting my nails done. I'm on a tight schedule at this point. This sticks out the most. He's talking about his son. His son has told him that he is about to have another kid. Now his son is about to tell him that he's having another kid. So yes, he is a grandfather. Can you imagine a man this old doing this type of shit? Anyway, so we get on the topic about kids, and I kind of asked him about kids. He's asking me about kids. I at this moment told him, you know, the topic about kids with me is a very sore subject. So I didn't want to get into too deep into this conversation with him about kids because I still had things to do that day. I didn't want to get in my emotions. Um, Long story short, we kind of put it on the back burner. We was like, "Oh, we'll talk about it later." He actually had to go to work that day. I went into the city, enjoyed my time with my friends, saw Rockefeller City. Saw the Rockefeller tree and everything, and came back to his house, and we enjoyed our night. The next day, he had to get up because this is the kicker. He had to go to Atlantic City. And throughout the week, I think he told me about Atlantic City. He had to go to, but the reason why he told me he had to go to Atlantic City was because he had, of course, written up a business plan, and he had a friend that knew investors. So this friend invited him out to Atlantic City to pretty much pitch his idea for a business. So me being the encouraging person I am, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing opportunity. Have you been working on your pitch? All this stuff, right? He's telling me, yeah, I've been working on my pitch and all this other stuff. And, he's showing me his outfit that he's wearing, his suit and tie. He showed me these shoes, and I was like, I don't like those shoes. You shouldn't do those shoes with that suit. He's showing me his belt, asking me opinions about his belt. No, don't do that belt with that either. That's those shoes and the belt. I'm giving my opinion. He switched things up and everything. Um, and I do apologize, y'all. This is a very triggering moment. Anyways, but yeah, he's telling me about all these, ideas that he's had, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't, wait to hear how everything turns out. Okay, so he ends up having to take me to the airport the following morning, and after he took me to the airport, he was getting on the road to head to Atlantic City, so he can, of course, have this kind of business meeting, or yeah, business meeting. Now he also told me that he had to drive to pick up his homeboy because they wasn't riding separate cars, so he had to go to pick his homeboy up. I didn't ask where his homeboy stayed, but okay, whatever. um I do remember him again. I'm on a plane, had to head back home. So I didn't get to talk to him as I was, of course, on the plane. But once I landed, I did hit him up and I'm like, hey, did you make it there? He was like, yeah. But he also told me that he couldn't talk to me right now because there was a loud music in the car, so he'll give me a call back. So okay, no problem. Um, but he definitely gave me a call back. Gave me a call back. He's actually sitting at the bar, and he's like, "Yeah, it's a good time." And now, again, I can't remember this exactly what time this was, but he did let me know that he made it in. I think the next conversation I had with him, he was sitting at the bar. Um, he kind of seemed a little irritated as well, just saying how, he was there to pretty much pitch this idea, and his friends were getting on his nerves because they was out there trying to gamble, and he wasn't really out there trying to gamble. He gave me this whole story about this hamburger that he had that was expensive. He was excited because he finally got to go to Johnny Rockets. That's another story. Anyway, he got to go to Johnny Rockets, that diner. Anyway, so I'm not paying any mind to the whole ordeal or whatever. Um, Again, we're talking the whole time. He's in Atlantic City. I'm asking him how the meeting went. He's telling me how he got to talk to a couple investors. They seem like they're really interested. Once he, gets back, home, he's going to make sure he keep in touch. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, babe. Like, whoop de woo. Being a supportive girl, you know. That was all of December. No, 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 no. I missed the part. In December, he also gave me a Christmas gift, and I mean, it was early Christmas. Like I really wasn't expecting anything. I remember him giving it to me and telling me not to open it until Christmas, and I'm like, well, we didn't talk about exchanging gifts, and he was like, no, this is something I wanted to get for you. I thought about you and all this good stuff. So he bought me a Christmas gift, which is really, really sweet. And, you know, um, I didn't open it, and I kept it until Christmas. And the gift's really sweet. It was thoughtful. I'm into crystals, and um, it was this little, kind of like a little gemstone tree that he gave me that I thought was so cute. It had a bracelet with it as well. I put the bracelet on. Of course, I had other gemstone bracelets on as well. So it went perfectly with what I had. Anyway, again, another sweet gesture from this man. All right, but all of it was a lie. And when I say all of it's a lie, to find out what I know now about that so-called investors meeting makes me want to vomit.